This land we call home has a rich and varied history stretching back thousands of years. But hidden below the surface are some amazing treasures just waiting to be found.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. That's really cool.
So each year across the country, archaeologists dig underground and dive underwater, searching for fresh discoveries.
The most amazing thing in British archaeology.
Uncovering traces of ancient lives.
Somebody's pride and joy, I'm sure.
And finding fascinating objects.
Such exquisite detail.
This year, I'll be meeting the archaeologists and looking at some of their most incredible finds.
I mean, that is stunning.
While Dr. Tori Herridge is travelling the length of the country to some spectacular locations.
Where I'll be dropping in on some of this year's most fascinating digs. Oh my gosh, can you see that? It's just brilliant. Oh my goodness.
Every dig provides a new piece in the puzzle of Britain's forgotten past. This is the epic and unfolding story of our islands. Welcome to Digging for Britain. This week on Digging for Britain, one of the largest Roman cremation cemeteries ever found gives up its secrets.
It is the best site I've ever worked on. I mean, the quality of the archaeology is absolutely stunning.
With some of the most delicate finds we've ever seen on Digging for Britain.
No way! How have they survived?
In Bradford, archaeologists find traces of a Somali community who once took part in an Edwardian exhibition,
It's really voyeuristic.
revealing a key moment in the city's history.
The first ever Muslim burial. It's incredibly significant.
And in the centre of Glasgow, Tori meets a group of volunteers who have swapped skateboards for shovels.
It's amazing how quickly people forget. Archaeology can bring those memories back.
But first, we're heading to the Highlands of Scotland, 65 miles north of Glasgow, where Tori is in the famous valley of Glencoe. Today, Glencoe feels wild and remote. Home to some of the most breathtaking scenery the UK has to offer. But this idyllic landscape was the stage for one of the most infamous, dark and bloody events in British history, at the very end of the 17th century. In the winter of 1692, government soldiers of the newly crowned William and Mary were ordered to execute every member of the MacDonald clan. Despite belatedly pledging their allegiance to the new king, the clan had been branded traitors, to be made an example of. The atrocity became known as the Glencoe Massacre.
Now a combined team from the University of Glasgow and the National Trust for Scotland is looking for the most notorious site of the massacre.
The home of the local leader, MacDonald of Achnacarn. Eddie Stewart is leading the dig.
Eddie, if I was standing here in January 1692,
Yeah.
how many houses would I have seen?
It's likely there was around about 8 houses, but these would have been home to kind of a full extended family, you know, grandparents, parents, children. And we reckon, certainly as of the middle of the 18th century, there's probably around about 120 people living there.
Hiking through the valley at Glencoe today, you'd be forgiven for thinking this landscape had always been a wild and windswept grassy hillside. But hidden beneath the long grass, almost invisible to the naked eye, are traces of where people once lived, in houses made from turf.
This is it then, a turf house?
Yes, yeah. So we have this house here built out of essentially sods of turf, so cut from around about the landscape. The kind of curve of the turf wall running around the front and then back down here. And we've
So
got this.
how can you tell? What is it that lets you see that this is a turf house and not just part of the soil?
It's quite a challenge, to be fair, but over the process of it being kind of a turf house, it's accumulating material, and so the colour and composition and compaction sort of start to change a little bit. And so we can see these kind of dark mottled patches, which are
Yes.
kind of roughly rectangular, which are probably the tops of turfs that have then into this kind of bank that remains.
The team is unearthing a surprising range of small finds here, which come from all across Europe. Clues for who once lived in this turf house.
This is beautiful. What's this one? Looks like a sort of a party ring decoration.
Yeah, so this is a piece of comb-decorated slipware, and it's probably from Staffordshire. But it's got this really, really rich decoration. It's part of a kind of sizable plate with a nice kind of curve in the edge there. So, you know,
Beautiful. So this is fancy stuff.
this is fancy stuff. This is the kind of prized dining ware probably of
Yeah,
the
it's
occupants of this house.
Very fine.
And we've been getting lots and lots of chunks of this coming out, particularly from around the house and a clay ditch at the back of it. But we've also got some really nice imported ware. So this is a nice piece of sort of northern German pottery here.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can see it's quite kind of rough on the outside, but this beautiful golden glaze in the interior.
Imagine that
which-
catching candlelight. couldn't
Yeah,
you?
exactly. These are really, really impressive and kind of flashy pieces. So it really does paint a picture of the occupants who know what the fashion is at the fancy dining tables of houses in Scotland and England, France, Germany, etc. They know what it is to be a member of that kind of European elite at that time. And they're keen to show that off. It's all about kind of projecting a status, showing that you are someone who can afford these things. You might live in a kind of vaguely humble dwelling in the hills, as the kind of architecture suggests. But actually, this is quite the investment in dining ware to have brought together. And so that's probably relating to someone of a kind of tacksman's class.
Yeah.
A tacksman was a type of landowner in the Highlands, tack being an old Scottish term for the lease held on land. And Eddie believes these rich finds point to this very house belonging to the tacksman of Glencoe and leader of this Highland community, MacDonald of Achnacoin. In a home much like this modern-day reconstruction, MacDonald accommodated the government soldiers alongside his own family.
Now that was nothing unusual. It was a way of collecting unpaid taxes, forcing people to pay for the food and board of soldiers. But after living side by side peacefully for 2 weeks, things turned to violence. In the pitch darkness, in the early hours of the morning, shots rang out up and down the valley. The soldiers had turned on their hosts. But this was no battle or even an assassination. Orders had come through to completely extirpate, get rid of the MacDonalds in Glencoe. They had been ordered to kill everybody, every man, woman and child under the age of 70, to cut off the clan, root and branch, and they were told to take no prisoners.
"38 members of the MacDonald clan were killed that night. But, as the story goes, the tacksman, MacDonald of Achnacoin, supposedly escaped the firing squad by tearing off his cloak, throwing it at the rifleman and running into the hills.
So this is a tacksman's house.
Yes.
So the most important person living in this area, that day, the wee hours of the morning, all hell broke loose, right?
Yeah. Early in the morning, the door is booted in and a volley of shots ring through the doorway. And we have this really nice piece of impacted musket shot here from just within the walls of the house.
Oh my gosh. Whoa, that was embedded in the walls.
So that was embedded within the wall material, yeah.
It's
Yes.
incredible that that's just there, preserved.
And we know MacDonald of Achnacoin is one of the survivors of this. So he's injured. He's taken outside of his house and leant against the back wall.
It's like firing squad, effectively.
Essentially, yeah. Yeah, and in that kind of final moment, he whips off his plaid, his thick sort of tartan cloak, which would have been held at the shoulder by a plaid pin. He throws it over his would-be assailants, and then he makes his way off into the hills, into safety beyond. And just outside, we're excavating, we found this bent plaid pin.
No way. So you're suggesting...
It's hard to say for certain,
But you're
but it
suggesting it's there.
certainly makes for a strong story there.
For me, this
Yeah.
is a community that is having musket balls fired at it.
Yes.
And it's not just men
around a fire, there would probably be women and kids in there, and we
Certainly,
know that was
yes.
part of what was going on.
Yes.
They were there to be exterminated.
Yes, yes. So this is coming from the very highest levels of government in Scotland.
Those who survived the initial gunfire escaped into the mountains, where, in the depths of the Highland winter, many died of exposure. Eventually, a few did return to the valley.
These structures, which, you know, were set on fire during the massacre, they seem to have been left abandoned. And so we see houses built adjacent to the houses that were destroyed as part of the massacre. So what is it like to live right next to a house that's been destroyed and where sort of traumatic events have occurred?
We're presuming the people living in those houses had also lived through those events.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
But there was no fresh start. The team have uncovered evidence that the small community here continued to live under government surveillance.
This clay pipe bowl represents later mid-18th century occupation of this landscape. So this is a style of clay pipe that's being produced particularly for government troops. Has this stamped armorial on the front, which is the coat of arms of the king. It's being produced in London, so someone travelling from down there who's received this as part of their tobacco ration is potentially being billeted in the Highlands yet again. And what is it like, you know, for the community here to experience that?
Can you imagine? We could remember that massacre, and you remember what happens when troops get billeted in your village, and you have another one on your doorstep,
especially
smoking a pipe, looking towards the house where your relatives were massacred.
Yeah. So there is, you know, this surely was quite an active kind of trauma in the landscape.
Eventually, the highlands were cleared, and this valley was turned into grazing land for more profitable sheep farms.
This epic landscape is famous in the history books for the Glencoe massacre, and there's good evidence of that happening right here.
Archaeology isn't only helping us understand the long history of this place, but also the events of just one fateful night.
Every year, archaeologists unearth objects that ancient Britons crafted and constructed. But among the most illuminating finds are what remains of the people themselves.
A single grave can reveal so much about an individual, who they were from a biological perspective, looking at the bones, but also a lot about the culture that was all around them from the grave goods in that burial as well. But in fact, we get real insights into the past when we can look at whole communities. And that's exactly what archaeologists were able to do at this next site, where there were over 200 graves.
For our next dig, we're heading just outside of Penrith, 40 miles south of Carlisle. Here, a team from Oxford Cotswolds Archaeology has been called in to excavate ahead of a new construction project to improve the A66. And they've unearthed an exquisitely preserved cemetery, which dates back to the Roman period. The team are excavating hundreds of graves here.
On three?
On three? Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Both inhumation burials and cremations are tightly packed together.
I've got another one!
In one of the largest Roman cemeteries ever found in the northwest of Britain.
Look, there's a room. There's your
Going as well.
Oh, careful. Oh, that might be an urn.
Oh, yay! Look at that. It's the rim of a glass vessel, fully intact. That is very exciting. She's beautiful.
amazing. Fully intact. That is pristine. That is a museum piece. That is.
This genuinely is the best site I've ever worked on. I mean, the quality of the archaeology is absolutely stunning.
Lauren McIntyre is a specialist in burial archaeology, and she's amazed by what the team is finding here. The incredible preservation means they're gaining an extremely detailed insight into the way that people were burying their dead.
This first feature is pretty typical of the cremation burials that we're finding here. This is a black burnish wet urn, and then it's got all this cobble packing around it. This is the sort of pot that a lot of the cremated ashes are actually placed in. You may be able to see there's a little cross hashing pattern on it there. Somebody's taken quite a lot of time to dig this hole and put the pot in and make sure that it's all packed in nice and safe. It's obviously worked because 2,000 years later, here it still is all stood up.
The archaeologists are carefully lifting every cremation, but each one poses its own unique challenges.
These two pots could be grave goods that have maybe had like food or drink or something like that in. Go, go, go. Right, and then...
They're using plastic wrap to make sure the pots won't dry out and become brittle once lifted.
It's probably going to be at least another few months before this bowl sees the light of day again. But the way that it's been wrapped means that it should be in pretty much the same condition when we open it up. I always feel it's a bit like you're kind of putting them to bed for the night.
Tucking them in.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of these burials across the site, but while Roman cemeteries are often quite diverse, the team are finding that these graves are even more varied than usual. They contain many different quantities and styles of pottery. Each burial is unique.
The variation that we're seeing is a reflection of the amount of personal choice that people would have had in how they wanted their grave to be. Even just thinking about Roman religion, they're pick and mix in a way. People pick and choose what deities they want to worship. So I suppose their funerary cultures are the same as well. You know, you pick and choose what you want in your grave and what you want to take with you.
Many of the burials contain grave goods. They're finding all sorts of small personal objects.
Just found this lovely golden little pin, so it's very exciting.
It is definitely Cupid.
We have a Roman ring, I think.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. What we think is maybe a strap end or a belt buckle. A little copper duck.
Maybe part of a Roman brooch. He's a lovely little character.
I've got something really, really cool.
What? No way!
Hang on.
Is he made out of stone?
I think it's...
Oh, look at that!
It's very light, so I think it's ceramic, maybe.
Oh my gosh! That's insane.
That's really cool.
With so many fascinating grave goods appearing on site, Lauren and Roman pottery specialist Edward Biddulph have come to share their discoveries in the Digging for Britain tent.
Hello, hello.
Hi. You've got a lovely selection here. So tell me about these objects then.
These are a little bit of a mixture.
Yeah.
So, for example, this little amulet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So that looks unmistakably phallic, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does.
What's that about? Is that meant to bring luck?
I mean, who knows? Fertility amulet, maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, a tiny little bronze Roman penis. There we go. What did that belong to? So where is this from?
This is from the cemetery.
Yes. So this was an ordinary cooking pot.
Right.
And it you can actually see that it was a cooking pot because it still has burnt residues on the surface.
And then they're reusing it.
It's been reused because I needed something to put the cremated bone in.
Yeah.
After it's been burnt on the pyre and buried it into the grave.
And do you get much of that pottery in this area?
Yes. I suppose the fancy stuff, some of this Samian ware, nice imported Samian ware from Roman France, from Gaul, it would have been quite scarce in the smaller farmsteads.
Yeah.
But in the nearby forts, it's really quite common. So
yeah. So you think that's been used as a funerary vessel?
It was
as well?
definitely used as a funerary vessel because I excavated a whole rafter cremated bone out of it.
Yeah.
This one has got a hunting scene on it, so you can see that there's actually little men on horses.
Yeah.
And there's like a bear, and there's, I don't know if this is like a wolf or something, and there's like dogs and things.
Yeah.
As well.
It's lovely, isn't it? Same
It's
beautiful. Beautiful. Is that a brooch?
Yeah, we've got 2 brooches. So again, these are out of graves, so it suggests that people were probably clothed when they were put on the pyre. You know, they've nice decorative objects with them. And again, we've got a few little gold objects as well. We've got a little gold brooch here, and again, it looks as though it's probably melted to some extent.
Yeah.
So again, it's probably been on the pyre.
It's lovely though. You've still got the pin on the back of it there.
If you look carefully, it's got a tiny little stone inside it that's kind of sunk down into the fitting.
So that would have been gathered up. So you're placing the body on the pyre, fully clothed, as you say, and with all the usual jewellery and other objects associated with it.
Kind of precious objects.
Yeah. And then after the burning of the pyre is finished and it's cooled down, people are then collecting all of that up carefully.
Yeah. And we've also got these glass objects as well.
These are absolutely
These
beautiful,
are
aren't they?
insane.
I mean, how have they survived?
It's a very good question.
It defies belief that this has survived.
It's not even got a chip on it.
Look at that. So that could be, what, 1,800 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is beautiful. What might that have been used for, do you think?
Well, what do you think,
I
Ed?
think it would have had, ointments and perfume, something nice and fragrant. Perhaps a little bit was poured into the grave as a sort of an offering.
So this is from a grave?
Yes, it is, yeah.
But it clearly hasn't been on the pyre because it would have shattered, wouldn't it? Yeah. We've got more glass and then this beautiful little figurine.
Yeah.
What's this made of?
This is a pipe clay figurine. We think it's probably either an infant or a child holding a little ceramic vessel.
So it's not we're not looking at the representation of a deity here, or a god or a goddess. It's an ordinary person.
It looks like it. So these pipe clay figurines, the most common design that you do get is Venus. And there's quite a lot of those knocking around in Rome and Britain. But this particular design with the child is extremely rare in this country. There's maybe 3 other examples of this design in the UK.
Yeah.
And this looks to be the most complete one.
Yeah.
Where they come up, they seem to be associated with funerary contexts. And you can also see that this one's been burnt. Fortunately, it's not broken, but you can see all this black marking. It looks like it probably has been on the pyre. Even maybe it was like on the edge of the pyre or something.
Wow,
That's
it's incredible that didn't break.
It is incredible.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? This tells you something about that ongoing ritual. You've had the cremation, and the ritual continues at the graveside, and you're putting more objects into that grave.
Yeah. And as I say, a lot of the graves, we don't really have like a set style. There seems to be an awful lot of personal choice about it, you know, and every single grave has been slightly different.
Well, it's wonderful, and I look forward to hearing more when you've got further with the analysis and, you know, some more from the cremations as well. Thank you very much.
Up and down we're going nowhere fast. Time moves awfully slowly, then suddenly it's up. Death is deep and empty, but forever isn't long. Some will make 100, some not even one.
The northwest of Britain is liberally scattered with monuments that have stood for centuries. From prehistoric stone circles like Callanish on the Isle of Lewis, to medieval fortresses like Broome Castle in Penrith. But archaeology can also reveal traces of more ephemeral events. Our next dig takes us to West Yorkshire and the city of Bradford. In the heart of the city sits the historic Lister Park, which hosted one of the largest and most ambitious civic exhibitions of the early 20th century. The Bradford Exhibition of 1904 featured displays of cutting-edge industry, art, craft, and visions of future technologies. But one attraction offered a very different experience: the so-called Somali village. European businessmen recruited 57 men, women and children from Somalia to live, perform and demonstrate their way of life in a purpose-built walled compound for 6 months. Displaying people from colonised countries was a popular form of entertainment. Now, for the first time, a team from the University of Bradford is hoping to find evidence of what daily life was really like here in the Somali camp.
It's a temporary event and it's a challenge to find the archaeology.
Chris Gaffney and Ben Jennings are leading the dig.
So this is a sketch map which was given out in 1904 to visitors to orientate themselves within the exhibition itself. There are lots of different things identified. The railway, we've got the slide into the lake, we've got the bridge in the pagoda style, and then up into this area, the Somali village. And we've put our trench somewhere along here, and hopefully we've gone over the front boundary of the Somali village.
The team has focused on a small area, but they're already finding plenty of evidence.
So we've got a lot of ceramics coming out, lots of intact deposits. On the far side, we've got glass bottles coming out intact, along with some metalwork. Moving across, we have what appears to be some remains from the interior of the Somali village. We're finding distinct evidence of burning, which you can see on the ground in front of me, the dark band patch cutting into the clay surface. That's producing some slag from metalworkings, which we know they were doing inside the Somali village. And we've got some tar or pitch remains. We can really tell when we're finding this in the excavation because you can smell it. It's really got a fresh tar smell to it as soon as you come down onto the trowel. We know they're doing metalwork and we found the remains of that, so we're definitely in the right spot.
A small army of volunteers are painstakingly cleaning and categorising every object as it emerges.
This bottle is really helpful. It's HP Sauce, and in 1903, they dropped Garton from the name. So this bottle dates to 1903 at the latest and could easily be used at the exhibition in 1904. We've got quite a few animal bones here. That, for example, this is a jawbone of a sheep. There's no reason why these sorts of remains should just turn up in this park. We do know that the Somalis killed and cooked and ate a sheep every single day. That was for the community. So therefore, this really looks like it's linked to the Somali village. We've got this beautiful little bead here. We're not really certain if it's Somali, just got it out the ground earlier, but it's really ritzy, it's really beautifully decorated, and it shows really just the context of the vibrancy of in and around the Somali village at that time. It really is a very beautiful piece.
While the archaeologists are unearthing this physical evidence, Professor Yasmin Khan is visiting the West Yorkshire Archives to find out what written history has to say.
The Somali village was more than just a sideshow curiosity. I want to get a better understanding of what it was like to live there. I've come to meet Professor Fawzia Bora, trustee of a Somali-led project to piece together the lives of the villagers who once called Lister Park home. Fawzia, there's an amazing array of things here. Newspaper cuttings, postcards, photographs.
Yes, it's been quite a journey to find these, source them and get them together.
So these look like programmes. There's an official souvenir and a catalogue?
A catalogue of all the exhibits in the Great Exhibition. So if we take a look on page 49.
I've got here Somali village. There we are.
Yep.
And we can see the troop consists of male and female natives, including adults and children. Native customs, pastimes, occupations and ceremonies are shown. And among the demonstrations, wrestling and spear throwing are especially entertaining.
So the public would walk through the village and observe what was happening. So this is a good example of the Somalis doing a display of a war dance, and you see children and adults watching them do that.
Yeah, it's really voyeuristic, isn't it? But very little privacy.
Very little privacy.
And there's women there too who don't necessarily want to be on show the whole time.
Right, right. And we have a good illustration of this in a glass lantern slide taken by a photographer at the time in 1904. So here we see a group of Somalis, and then there's what looks like a woman's figure here, but she's decided to cover her face with her shawl. I think what that tells us is she doesn't really particularly want to be photographed in that moment.
So you can see glimpses of resistance or non-cooperation happening in the images.
Right.
There is just something innately really uncomfortable about this. Each of the Somali villagers signed up to join the exhibition as a type of employment. But they weren't paid well. About £1,000 in today's money for 6 months. And it ended up costing them a lot more.
A fire broke out in August. They lost 2 huts full of extremely valuable possessions, artifacts, which in today's money would be worth thousands of pounds. And they picketed the City Hall, which is
for compensation for the goods that they'd lost in the fire.
Yes.
So they're standing up for themselves.
They are. So on the one hand, they're robbed of agency by being in this form of employment. It's exploitative, it's asymmetric. On the other hand, within the setup, they do what they can to stand up for themselves. They're not passive.
And it's generating a whole load of media interest as well.
Right. There were articles in the local press on a rolling basis describing events that happened in the village. So here we have an account of domestic upheaval amongst the Somali.
The fickle Fatima. The young husband became so excited that he developed a sort of hysteria. He yelled and screeched and waved his arms frantically. So there's a sort of domestic happening between this couple.
Yes.
And every detail of it is being reported in the newspaper.
Yes.
I mean, I think this speaks of this really complex balancing act between their agency and their ability to say no.
You're absolutely right. What is the nature of that employment? It's a good question. They have entered into this form of employment, but we do know that they were not forced, and it did become a way of life for a number of Somalis who went on to go on to more of these trips.
So this also really caught my eye because it says Mohammedan burial in Bradford, so Muslim burial in Bradford. Yesterday, the remains of Halima Abdi, a Somali woman who died in the early hours of yesterday at the Bradford exhibition.
A doctor was called and he diagnosed her with tuberculosis. She had a husband and a young child, but she was kept by herself and treated with traditional medicine. She was never taken off-site, and that was in keeping with the Somalis' wishes.
It adds a whole different light to this exhibition to think of somebody dying there and being sick, presumably while visitors are still coming through to see the village.
Yes.
From an early hour yesterday until the removal of the body at 6:30 p.m, the village was a scene of mourning, and for part of the day was closed to visitors. So they still opened on the same day that she died?
Yes. Part of the commercial nature of this exhibition, that the show must go on.
There's lots of details here, all about the funeral and the spectacle of it, drawing the gaze of shopkeepers and pedestrians alike. Despite the desire to keep the funeral as private as possible, a congregation of a couple of 100 people had assembled in the vicinity of the grave. The mullah again took up the burial service, and the mourners joined in the Amen. I'm sort of left wondering if that included the local people and the onlookers.
Yes. On the one hand, they wouldn't have understood the Arabic of the prayers. On the other hand, as Christians, they would have taken the cue from the Somalis to say Amen, when the Somalis would be saying Ameen, which is their equivalent of that same word. So it's a moment of togetherness.
A similar funeral had not hitherto taken place in Bradford. So that's a hugely significant moment for this city. That's the first ever Muslim burial.
It's incredibly significant, absolutely.
This is Halimo's grave, and as you can see, it was only put here in 2004. For over 100 years, this spot was unmarked and unremembered. And that's why these excavations at places like Lister Park are so important, because they really enable us to remember these hidden stories.
Have your children, your flock of birds, your branch among the wood. And as those years go by, they'll look upon you kindly like a friend.
Next, we revisit one of my favourite sites from Digging for Britain in recent years.
I was in Carlisle in 2023 documenting the discovery of an incredible monumental bathhouse with beautiful stone heads and carved gemstones. And since then, the team have been hard at work finding even more evidence of the people that use the bathhouse, but also discovering how that building changed function over time.
We're returning to Carlisle, just 7 miles south of the modern border with Scotland. Here, archaeologists have been investigating a huge site which dates back to the Roman period. In 2023, I joined the team from Wardle Armstrong Archaeology as they made a surprise discovery, an enormous bathhouse brimming with Roman finds.
Piece of plaster. That would be Roman, that would be. Lovely piece of Roman glass, and you can just see the colour. It's a really lovely sky blue.
We just found what we thought was a large boulder, but on the other side, there's a sculptured face. OK, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow!
Oh, my gosh!
Something really special is going on here, so everyone's wildly excited. Brilliant.
The sheer scale of the site and the wealth of finds suggests this place was quite important.
Well, this is where it gets really exciting. When we have this imp tile here, it is a direct commission to the Imperial Court.
So
P, Imperator.
And which emperor, do we know?
Septimius Severus, I would put money on it. We know it was up in the north of England, so for a short while, the north of England would have been the centre of the Roman Empire.
This year, the team are back. They want to know how long the bathhouse was used for and what else was here at the time. Archaeologist Frank Jekko is leading the dig.
This season, one of the important aims was to look at activity to the south of the building, and this is what you can see here. So we've just gone over the road, and now we're walking towards this building that I'm comfortable now in calling a temple.
The discovery of this temple suggests the enormous bathhouse was actually part of an even larger complex.
It's a rectangular building using these huge post pads. I've never seen them 4 or 5 high. These would have been to support wooden uprights the size of telegraph poles. But just because it's wood doesn't mean it wasn't grand. As always on this site, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, because we've got wall plaster from this building, which hints that the building was plastered. So it's a wooden constructed building that could have looked like a stone building.
Frank's daughter, archaeologist Anna Jekko, is recording every fragment of wall plaster from the temple and the imperial bathhouse.
When you do archaeology and you're on sites, it's all kind of browns and greys. So it's lovely to get a glimpse of the colour, because the Romans, like, they didn't live in black and white and grey. They lived in a beautiful, colourful, painted world. So this piece here, there's this beautiful red stripe. Then we've got a dark blue one. You can see how the blue actually overlaps where the red goes. We've counted on this piece, it's actually been repainted around 5-6 times. It gives us a really good insight into what kind of quality the building was. So this one, you can see a lovely dark blue and turquoise stripe with then a white stripe. But then even underneath that, you can see little red fragments coming through. And then you can see just at the top, there's a thin, sort of darker blue line. So that's another layer of plaster. So it's something I haven't seen before. And it's a proper kind of look through the Romans' eyes to what they would have seen at that time.
This evidence of renovation and redecoration shows the building was in use for a long time. But Frank believes that some key finds suggest it wasn't always a bathhouse.
These are military lead seals. The closest thing we have today would be for special occasions. You might have a wax seal on a document with your family crest or something. It's the same principle. These would have had a bit of string closing a military document. So when they open the document, you cut the string and you throw these away. And there's a lot you can read from them. It tells you who sent them, so their name will be on one side, and on the other side it will be the regiment. So they don't look much, but there's a huge amount of information you can glean from these, telling us that the use of the building has changed from somewhere where the well-to-do of Carlisle would go to relax and meet up, to more of a military administrative building, where they may be fixing things, military documents are coming in, and this is reflected in these little lead seals.
Anna and fellow archaeologist Nick Henderson have brought some of their most intriguing finds to the tent.
Nick and Anna, so you've got more finds from Carlisle that have come up since I visited.
We do, have lots.
What's this copper alloy object? That's really weird. What on earth is it?
It's a tiny votive altar.
Is it?
So it's got enamelling on each side.
Yeah.
And basically, it would have been in a set of 3. They would have stacked up on top of each other. So that you see how it's got little dents there and there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where the second one would have stood on top of it.
And what was it for? How would it have been used?
Some sort of ritualistic prayer or something.
I can see 3 different colours. You've got what now looks like this turquoise colour, and then you've got blues and reds as well. I mean, that is stunning, isn't it? What a beautiful, beautiful object. And then you've got more enamelled objects.
Yeah, so we've got 2 brooches. So this one's a military brooch.
Wow.
That one came out the ground looking like that. We thought it was just like a plastic bottle cap that had found its way in.
Yeah, the colours are so amazing.
And then that one's a little stud.
Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. So you've got these tiny little flowers made in glass, and then they've chopped it through and then assembled it into a brooch. And whereabouts were these found on the site?
They were both found within this new temple-like area.
OK. Do you think they're objects which have been dropped by accident, or could they be votive offerings?
They could be votive offerings.
Yeah.
They weren't too far away from this,
right,
which then adds this sort of idea of maybe these votive offerings that have been kind of left in the area.
Yeah.
But as well as these potentially deliberately placed objects, the team also found plenty that were accidentally lost. Precious items that washed down into the drains under the bathhouse.
I remember these from when I visited the site, Anna, and in the sediment were these intaglios. So you've got some more here.
So, yeah, we've got a massive collection.
So who's that?
So that's Cupid, and it's kneeling down to Psyche as a butterfly.
Isn't that lovely? So these would have been in rings, would they?
They're in signet rings.
Yeah.
So they'd be used as a sort of personal stamp.
Yeah. And over here we've got, who have we got here?
So that's Misalta. So that would have been a big man's ring, probably someone in the military.
Yeah.
We've got Victory, which from the size of it, it's also probably from a man's ring as well.
Yeah.
And then a beautiful amethyst intaglio of Venus, which that's the earliest intaglio I've got, so that's 2nd century.
Oh, it's amazing.
Really cool.
So we're seeing that actually they're in use for a long period of time.
Well,
do you think it's staying as a bathhouse throughout?
I think it sort of main occupation as a bathhouse for sort of 20 years, and then it starts to progress onto something different. We know later on it becomes more like administrative.
Right.
We've got huge amounts of coins coming in, so it definitely changes to some sort of different use later on.
That's interesting, isn't it? And last but not least,
Yeah, so this...
tell me about this, Nick. I mean, that's just beautiful.
It's a Fortuna head.
When we were watching the digger on the first day of sight, and this popped out and just missed the bucket of the digger.
Yeah. Can I pick it up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, please.
What is the stone?
So it's sandstone, so it's local sandstone, so it was probably quarried not that far away from Carlisle. There's a connection with Severus and Fortuna. Severus thought he was quite a lucky guy, which he kind of was, to be honest. He
Yeah,
had this
by the
sort-
time you become emperor.
So she's got these sort of fantastic drop earrings as well.
She's fantastic.
It
isn't
is.
she?
We're really lucky to get, because
Yeah.
of how much the site was quarried, they've taken, like, even the cobbles from underneath the building's foundations. So we're really lucky when we get the tiny bits of sculpture and things.
Lucky's the right word, because it's Fortuna.
Yeah.
What a successful year's digging.
There are plenty of traces of the ancient past in the northwest of Britain, going back hundreds or even thousands of years. But anything that gets buried underground has the chance to become archaeology, as our next dig reveals. Tories off to Kelvingrove Park in Glasgow's West End.
Among the playing fields and woodland is a modern skate park. Here, skaters carve the ramps and bowls with daring tricks. But many are unaware that the nearby trees conceal a part of skating history. Dating back nearly half a century to the 1970s.
Nestled in Kelvingrove Park lies one of Scotland's most unexpected archaeological sites, a concrete skate park hidden in plain sight.
The original skate park, known as the Kelvin Wheelies, was one of the first ever skateboarding facilities built in the UK. This state-of-the-art park opened in May 1978, complete with bowls, slalom run and half-pipes. It was incredibly popular with young skaters, but eventually the park was closed down and buried due to safety concerns. But there's no record of that happening, and nobody who was there at the time can remember exactly when. As styles of skating changed over time, so did the design of skate parks. So now, a team of local skaters and the University of Glasgow are using archaeology to try to rediscover this founding piece of skating history. Archaeologist Kenny Brophy is leading the dig.
Kenny! Oh, Kenny, I have not seen one of those for a while.
No, those have not been on archaeology sites for a long time. Well,
I'll hold it while it develops, shall I?
it's in keeping with the age of the site we're digging.
Well, yeah, that's just it, isn't it? This is not like an ordinary archaeological site, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not quite as old as your typical site. It dates back to 1977. So it's within living memory within the last 50 years. So I guess it's what we might call a kind of contemporary archaeology.
So what then are you hoping to find out by taking this archaeological approach to a modern feature?
Yeah, so what we're really hoping to find here is evidence of when and how it was backfilled. Is there anything in there that might date exactly when that happened? And can we tell a story of what was happening here when this place was being decommissioned?
The team used the exact same process and techniques here that they use on ancient sites. They analysed the layers of soil and rubble inside the slalom.
Oh, look at this.
It's just a classic archaeological section, as good as anything that I've seen in my 25 years of excavating.
Yeah, you're going from top to bottom. You've got the modern topsoil.
Yes.
Yep. And then you've got this layer of what looks like clay.
Yes, yep.
And then I can see bits and bobs.
Yes, and even the smallest bit of evidence could help us say exactly when this was backfilled, because there's actually no record of when this happened. Everyone's saying it was 82, 83, 84. No one remembers. It's amazing how quickly people forget. Archaeology can bring those memories back.
Unlike most other archaeological sites, the team here is able to draw from members of the community who actually remember the skate park. Like local skate shop owner, Jamie Blair.
Jamie, you were there on day one. Paint me a picture of what it was like to skate here for the first time.
Super excited. People from all over, and then people were bombing down hills and tearing through here with the marshals with their whistles and their tracksuits, black and red tracksuits, telling them where they could go and where they couldn't go.
So, you've got all these pictures here?
Yeah. Where do we start? That's
oh, look.
Somewhere here. So we are sitting on
This
the,
is where we are?
we're right here. And then there's your marshal. I think there's another photograph. This is, again, this is early days. But there you go.
Is this you?
Yeah. Stick my tongue out.
How old are you here?
Probably 13 and a half. Maybe 14, actually. Probably 14.
Is that what you remember? What is your, your key memories?
Your friends, just the team member, your teammates. And I remember that. I remember the laughs you have. You're just kids. You're having fun. You're just skateboarding. We're crazy for skateboarding.
As the team dig out the concrete slopes, a new generation of skating volunteers get to see the original skate park for the first time.
Did you know that there was an old park here in the trees?
I'd known it since I was younger. It was almost hearing like fairy tales, because I've never seen anything like this. I can't compare it to anything else that I've skated before.
Nothing like this is built these days. Skateboarding has changed completely. So back when this was made, there wasn't even an ollie, which is the basic sort of mechanism for getting off of the ground. So just the whole way that people would ride boards was just not the same at all.
Yeah, and so that meant the parks were different, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
So is it important to you to sort of understand this sort of side of skateboarding, the historical side of it?
Yeah, I mean, this is where it all came from. And it looks a lot more fun, to be honest.
As well as glimpsing the hidden shape of the park, the team are unearthing evidence of youth culture from before many of them were born. Archaeologist Kieran Manchip has lined up some of the most unusual finds we've ever seen on Digging for Britain.
What have you been finding then?
So just in front of us, we have these quite distinct white lines. We think they're contemporary to the skate park.
It's not easily interpretable graffiti, is it?
No.
It doesn't look like someone's tag.
No.
It isn't an image.
No.
It's just two parallel white lines.
Yeah.
That could puzzle you if it was 30,000 years old. Are you equally puzzled even though it's only 50 years old?
Yeah, I think we're puzzled at the moment, bearing in mind that there's a story of certain points of the bowl being marked because that's where you maybe try a trick, or that's maybe what you were to aim for to avoid falling off and hurting yourself or something. So I wonder if it's maybe just like a quick mark that's been put down. Yeah.
I do like that, but I also like how it's so mysterious. Even though it's only 50 years old,
Yeah.
the mysteries are there.
Yeah. So in terms of dating some of the material, we've actually been quite lucky in that we've been able to find sweetie wrappers that have best before dates on them.
Yes.
So here we have a 6-pack of penguins.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, so you can see the wee penguin.
Yeah, look at that.
And on the rear side, there we go.
Best before. 14th of March, 83.
Yep, and also a lovely Twix wrapper, and probably even in better condition than the penguin, was also found right at the bottom of the rubble.
It's got a date on this too. This is the 21st of May, 83. 83 is coming up, big numbers here.
Yes, exactly.
So this is like your stopped watch. This
Yeah.
is telling you when it happened.
Yes, it is. So we know that the site had been backfilled by May of 1983.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've also found, I think it's a kind of hologram. It's Dennis Law, the Scottish footballer, and I think he's wearing a Man United shirt. So I
Okay.
think we put it towards the early 70s.
This is a really youthful story.
Yeah.
The assemblage here it feels like a youthful assemblage. With the chocolate bars, your football hero. The
Yeah.
archaeology is right. It's captured what this place was about.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's different, but the processes are still the same with archaeology. And I think that's what you can apply that to any type of human past. Doesn't matter if it's the 1970s.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
You've got all these memories, but what does the dig mean to you?
It's just really interesting. I mean, it was a great shame that this park got filled in. It broke a lot of skateboarders' hearts. But it's just good to kind of roll back and see it. And it was fun trying to find, oh, I remember that bit, and there should be a bit there, and digging, and you hear this clunk, and rake it away, and you can see the old lip and stuff. The other reaction was, geez, am I that old? They're literally digging up the bones of my childhood. But yeah, skateboarding's alive and well, so it's all good.
Towards the end of the final day of the dig, the volunteers can't help themselves. Skateboards ride the concrete of the original Kelvingrove skate park for the first time in more than 4 decades.
Tori, I think this is the most recent archaeology that we have ever had on Digging for Britain.
Yes, it's only, what, 40-odd years old. A horrifying thought, because it basically made me realise that I am now archaeology.
Yeah, the archaeology of the recent past.
Yes. It's a whole... I say it's a whole different thing. It's not. It's exactly the same.
The process is the same.
And that's really interesting.
It's interesting to think about archaeology through time, that we can approach the prehistoric era, and archaeology is the only way we have of reconstructing those people's lives. Then as soon as we're into the Roman era, we've got history alongside the archaeology. And in this period, you've got history alongside archaeology, alongside living memory.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you could then ask the question, really, like, what's the point? And I think the point really there is that even with living memory, it's not good enough. No one could find out the answer to a very fundamental question, which was, when was this skate park covered up?
Really?
Yes. We think we have all the answers in our historical record.
Yeah.
But someone, somewhere, decided that that piece of information wasn't worth keeping.
There's some really important questions here, I think, for us today.
Yes.
About which parts of the past we value.
Exactly. I mean, the graffiti that was uncovered of 2 enigmatic white lines. If that had turned up in a cave in prehistory, oh my goodness, imagine what would be said. It actually was probably a point where someone put their hand as they were doing a trick, right? You know, so that all those things become quite an interesting way of reminding ourselves that human life has a lot of ritual and reverence and things that are within it, but also can be playful, mundane, silly, you know, all these things. That's as much, if not more important to the daily life of the average person than the great monuments that we revere.
Yet still today, history is too much about kings and queens, and archaeology forces us to look at ordinary people, to look at all of us.
Yeah.
Next time on Digging for Britain, archaeologists discover a once-in-a-lifetime find.
The most amazing thing I've ever seen in British archaeology.
A team investigates an Iron Age site with links to the continent.
The Romans haven't conquered, but their culture has.
And we go behind the scenes at one of the largest digs ever to take place in Britain.
I have never seen anything like this. I mean, I've got goosebumps.
Phenomenal.